Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. England got off to a winning start yesterday. Absolutely brilliant, right? Performance by England, I felt. After the first half, I was like, how is it 2-2? With England playing so well. And then they went on to win by 4-2 over Croatia. And it could and should have been more. And our Arsenal players all played a big part in the win. Declan Rice, absolutely brilliant in the game, as we know. Great deliveries on his set pieces, as well as his overall play. Got an assist in the game. Madueke, very, 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 very good in the game. Very, very effective. Thought he played really, really well. And when Saka came on, that extra bit of quality, brilliant assists for the final goal for Rashford. And overall, a very, very good performance by England and by all of our Arsenal players who played in the game. One worrying thing, though, was Declan Rice limping off. He got replaced by Morgan Rogers, who could be an Arsenal player next season. But he limped off. A little bit of a worry. The manager even saying that, listen, I don't ordinarily take Rice off. Looks like it was a precaution, but Declan Rice limping off in that game. That just goes to show that we need cover in that midfield area for Declan Rice. Who's Arsenal going to go for? It looks like Arsenal are focusing in on Ayoub Bouadi of Lille. There's been suggestions of Tonali, but we've been hearing a lot over the past sort of 24 hours that Tottenham seem to be pushing ahead of everybody to try and get Tonali done and are willing to pay the really big money for him. But whoever, we need some cover in that area when you see Rice limping off. You heard what Tuchel says. I wouldn't ordinarily take him off. That means he's only playing literally every game for England. And judging on last night, they're going to go far in the tournament. What sort of Declan Rice is going to come back to Arsenal after playing all the games he did for Arsenal last season in the league, Champions League, and now, for England? We're going to need cover in that area. Now, Ayoub Bouadi seems to be the player that Arsenal would really like to bring in. He's younger than Tonali, a lot younger. His ceiling is really, really high. And, it makes perfect sense. And when you saw the way he played for Morocco, and I know you don't judge it off of World Cups, but he looked absolutely brilliant the other night. He's been brilliant for Lille this season. He's seen as one of the top midfield prospects, sort of in that sort of defensive midfield, deep-lying midfield area in Europe. Now, according to lots of reports, there's been positive initial talks. No agreement reached yet on personal terms, but Arsenal pushing for him. However, Liverpool are also pushing hard for his signature. So it could boil down to one of Arsenal or Liverpool who get him. The two of them in battling it out for him. Lille want around about £70 million, and that price is going to stay high. But Arsenal battling it out, as it seems, with Liverpool to try and get a deal done for Ayoub Bouadi. Morgan Rogers, of course, who came on in the game, and as I was sort of jokingly saying at the start of the show, could be an Arsenal player. Still being heavily linked with a move today. Of course, came on in the 72nd minute for Declan Rice last night. Still looks like he's Arsenal's number one target this summer. However, reports today saying that Arsenal not prepared to pay the astronomical price that Aston Villa are pushing for. Villa, of course, seemingly, resigning themselves that they could lose Rodgers, but they're looking upwards towards anything, you're hearing quotes from anything from around 80 to 100 million pounds. Arsenal would like to get that price down. The player is said to be in favour of a move to Arsenal. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one develops throughout the summer. As I said, we're going to be talking about this guy literally every single day. So Morgan Rogers, Arsenal's number one target this summer. Bradley Barcola, who I've spoken about as well. And, PSG left winger, scored for France the other night, came on. His pace is unreal. He's so quick. Sometimes has been criticised for his finishing, but he had a really good finish for France the other night against Senegal. Miguel Delaney, he's saying today, and of course he's a respected journalist when it comes to transfers, he said that Arsenal are looking into the details before lodging an official bid to try and get Bradley Barcola done. So that's interesting that he's sort of going with that. He's also suggesting that this summer, Arsenal could buy Bradley Barcola and Morgan Rogers. That would be some summer if they got both of them done. Surely if they did that, that would mean Martinelli and Trossard both leaving this summer. Would Arsenal do that and both of them leave? But he's suggesting that it could be both. Now, that'd be a very, very expensive outlay for Arsenal. But that's what he's suggesting today. Bradley Barcola, as he's saying, Arsenal looking into the details around any bid that they could lodge. Another player that's been talked about today is Alex Scott, the Bournemouth attacking midfielder. Had an excellent season last year. Of course, Bournemouth had a brilliant season, but he was really integral in that. I remember when they bought him, I think it's from Bristol City they bought him, and he sort of came in, got injured, was always seen as a top player. But last season when he was fit, he had a great season for Bournemouth. Now, according to Team Talk, Arsenal very interested in Alex Scott. I remember when Bournemouth played against Arsenal and they beat us at the Emirates. He was a key player for them. But Team Talk saying that Arsenal interested and pushing to get a deal done. Liverpool have been the favourites all along to sign Alex Scott, particularly now that Iraola has gone into Liverpool, and Iraola, of course, managed him at Liverpool. But Team Talk are claiming that Arsenal have already had conversations with the players' representatives and could steal in ahead of Liverpool to get this deal done. I still think their priority this season is Morgan Rogers, attacking midfield area. You've got Eze, you've got Odegaard. We don't know what will happen with Odegaard, but they've got Odegaard. They've Max Dowman, Wanyeri. There's lots of players in that area. I still think like Morgan Rogers playing out on that left, but could also play in that midfield, would be way ahead of a deal for Alex Scott. Maybe, and I think we see this a lot with Andrea Berto, is that he throws the net out there, talks to lots and lots of players, and then decides on who he's going to bring in. Bournemouth said to have a £75 million release clause on Alex Scott, contract till 2028. But interesting to watch this one. I still think he'll probably end up at Liverpool, but according to reports, Arsenal battling it out with Liverpool to try and get his signature. And this one finally, Phoenix Blaney. Probably not heard of him, but he's a 16-year-old goalkeeper, said to be, dubbed as a wonder kid. Was wanted by Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, seen as a top prospect as a goalkeeper. But good news, people, he's decided to join Arsenal. That's according to his father. He's saying that he's going to be joining Arsenal. He's been on trial at Arsenal. And Phoenix Blaney, 16-year-old goalkeeper from Larne, over there in Northern Ireland, set to join Arsenal. It'd be like a compensation would be paid to Larne for him to sign. Another player that's been linked with Arsenal today from Club Brugge. We've been linked with Zolis from Club Brugge, but this is another player from Club Brugge, is Nicola Tresoldi. Now, according to Sport Bild, and they did an interview with Tresoldi, and they were asking him about him being linked with a move to Arsenal, and he spoke about how he's honoured to be linked with a club of Arsenal stature. Now, he's a striker, plays for Club Brugge, had a great season last year, 23 goals in all competitions he scored for Bruges. Obviously, when you are knocking up those numbers, clubs right across Europe are going to be paying attention to that. Julian Nagelsmann, the coach of the German national team, actually said that Tresoldi was very unlucky to miss out on the World Cup squad. He's still only 21, he's under 21 international. And it said that in April, right back in April, and it was Bild who reported this, that Andrea Berta was talking to his representatives about a possible move to Arsenal. So is there legs on this one for a move this summer? As I said, it's really the Sport Build sort of saying to him, what do you think of these rumours linking you with Arsenal? He's saying he's flattered, but he's not said anything about, moving or, whether any bids come in or, So going to be one to watch. Could he be a replacement for Gabriel Jesus, who looks like he's going to be moving on this summer? As I said, 21 years of age. Really, really liked by the German manager. So one to watch, Nicola Trasoldi of Club Bruges. So those are the rumours for today. Don't forget, keep it locked here on AFTV for all the transfer rumours. Also, check out our show where we discuss transfers called Talking Transfers. That's coming up as well. I'm sure we'll be discussing, Morgan Rogers. We'll be discussing Barcola and, some of the other players that have been linked with a move to Arsenal. So make sure you check that out as well here on AFTV Transfer Daily. Thanks for watching the show, and I'll see you tomorrow.